Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Kim and welcome back to Uncommonkim. So today I'm going to be going through my best books of 2024. I somehow picked 10. I'm not really sure how, but I've picked 10 books that I'm going to go from 10 down to 1 of what I think is my best books of this year. I have a lot of exciting books in here and a few I don't think I knew about before this year, but I'm very excited to get into it. We also have a little variety of genres, which is nice, with my top 2 being a genre I didn't think could be my top 2, but here we are. So let's get into it. Okay, so number 10 is everyone's favourite book of I think last year. But I'm late to the party and I read this in February and I really enjoyed my time with it. So that is Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross, which I read in February. And I just picked this up on a whim, as I had a lot of people tell me that they thought I would enjoy it, and it was like crack in the pages. I'm gonna stop showing the photo because every time I show the book my face goes shiny, but I couldn't, as soon as I started I couldn't put it down. I found it so fast-paced, so intriguing. I also just wanted to find out what the bloody hell was going on. We follow Iris Winnow and Roman Kitt. So they are both rivals who work for the same like newspaper. This is like historical fiction as such, but with a magical spritz in there too, and basically it turns out they are both connected from their magical typewriters, and Iris thinks she's sending these letters to her brother who is at war, and actually turns out they have been going to Roman Kitt the whole time. But they are rivals throughout, and then they both get sent off into the war that is currently going on to write articles on it. And as they spend more and more time together, they slowly realise they're not as rivals as they thought they were and started to fall for each other. And it is the most cutest magical book I think I have ever read. I read it so quickly. Oh, you also only tabbed one thing in it, and I'm going to read to you what I tabbed, which was to feel as though you're left behind, or like your life is in shambles and there's no guidebook to tell you how to stitch it back together. But time will slowly heal you, as it's doing for me. There are good days and there are difficult days. Your grief will never fully fade. It will always be with you, a shadow you carry in your soul, but it will become fainter as your life becomes brighter. You will learn to live outside of it again, and impossible as that may sound. Others will share your pain, will also help you heal, because you are not alone. Not in your fear or your grief or your hopes or your dreams. You are not alone. And that quote hit quite hard homing for me, and I just loved it. I just absolutely loved this book. It does obviously start as an enemies to lovers, it is an enemies to lovers fantasy, and it is just such a cute, wholesome book, and if you haven't read it I really recommend it. But yeah, this is book number 9. No, 10. Okay, book number 9 is another one I didn't think would be as high up as it is. I received it in a fairy loot box, and I read it at a time that was very hard for me, but it helped me get through it, which was really random. But the book I'm talking about is Fae-bound by Sarat El-Sarafi. I freaking loved this book, and I didn't think I'd love it as much as I did, but I absolutely loved it. So in this we follow Urin, who is a part of the Elven army, and she's known nothing but violence her entire life. But unfortunately a fatal mistake happens, and Euron then gets exiled from the Elven lands. And from doing this, she then ends up finding the Fae, and you have heartache, you have found love, you understand the Fae in this world, which is amazing. The story is it could be quite complex, but it's also very easy to read and easy to understand. From this, I've absolutely loved Sarah Azrafi's writing style. I find it really, really easy, and I love her characters. There's characters throughout that you're like, I hate you, but then by the end, you love them. And I just don't know how else to explain this book apart from it is just amazing. And you just need to read it to understand it. This is a really stunning Fairy Loot edition that they did, that came in the like monthly box. I'm not sure what month. Oh, December. It came in December 2023's box. But yeah, it's an amazing story. It does have LGBTQ plus rep in it as well. And it's mainly about the kind of Euron and her sister Nettle, who are like Lettle, sorry, that are forced onto other sides of the same war, and how they come together. But also about Euron finding herself and being a bit less angry, which is very relatable, and also how they both get trapped upon in this Fae kingdom. And it's very interesting reading about Fae in different series, because Fae is different. So you have like the Sarah J Maas Fae, and Sarah J Maas Fae is very different to the Fae in here, and it's just very interesting to read about them, and I really enjoyed my time with this one. So yeah, that is book number 9. Okay, so book number 8 is The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy by Megan Bannon. I did not expect to love this as much as I did. So in this we follow Heart and Mercy. Mercy runs a undertaking business which is run by her family, and Heart is like a mercenary, a part of this kind of war, if you like. And basically Heart's job is to go and find bodies out while this war is kind of participating and take them to Mercy. Now these guys are enemies. They hate each other, they despise each other, but they keep having to see each other more and more, and because of that they fall for each other. And honestly, the love-hate relationship these guys have is so fun, and it gives like House of the Cerulean Sea vibes a lot of the way through it, and it is just a really cozy fantasy rom-com, and I freaking loved this. I loved the other characters in this, so Mercy's family. I also loved Heart's like partner in this, which is Duckers, and he is a phenomenal character. He's probably my favourite. There's LGBTQ plus rep in this as well. It's just such a good fun read and story, and I flipping loved it. I also read the Undermining of Frank and Twilight and Frank, which is book 2, and I loved that one as well. I gave that one 4 stars, where we kind of follow our two characters a bit older. They're like 40s to 50s, and I still really enjoyed that one, but this one was just the shit. I freaking loved it. This is like the Fairy Loot edition, and it's stunning, and yeah, I love this series. It's such a good series. I can't wait for the 3rd book to come out this year. I'm so excited for it. Okay, book number 7 is a bit of a weird one, and it's a bit random. But the reason I have put this in here is because, good Christ, did I have all the feels while reading this book. This is You and Me on Vacation by Emily Henry, and this is my first ever Emily Henry, and it will not be my last. But in this we follow Poppy and Alex, who are pretty much best friends, and they've been going on holiday every year for 12 years, and we just follow them over the 12 years and in present day, where they are like meeting up after being apart for a while. And the fucking slow burn relationship in this is fucking ridiculous. You're rooting for them from day one to just get together because they're so cute and so sweet together, and it's literally best friends to lovers, and it's so well done. And I cried towards the end of the book. I fucking bawled my eyes out, and actually right now I can't remember why. I can't remember why, but I absolutely remember crying my eyes out, and I was so heartbroken. I don't know if I was heartbroken or I was happy, I don't know, I just cried. But this got a very easy 5 stars for me. I fucking loved it so much. I'm very excited to pick up more from Emily Henry, hopefully this year, but this was just a phenomenal read, and their relationship was so flippin' cute and honestly relatable. Relatable. I am a single Pringle, but good god, this made me actually want to meet people. But now I'm happy still being a single Pringle, so you know. But yeah, a fucking good read, such a good read. Book number 6. I read the first book in this series. I loved it. Easy 5 stars, a favourite of all time. Cannot beat it. Until I read the prequel, Bookshops and Bone Dust by Travis Baldwin. I loved this, I think, more than I loved Legends and Lattes, and that's massive. Because I loved Legends and Lattes. Like, it was a phenomenal cozy fantasy read that I read through a very difficult part of my life when I had first got put onto my anxiety medication, and I spent an entire month at home crying my eyes out, and that book got me through that year. This book got me through a hard part of this year. If you know, you know. I fucking love Travis Baldry's writing style. I love his characters, I love his worlds, and I'm so excited to see what he's going to come up with next. So in this we follow Viv, and Viv we also follow in Legends and Lattes when she opens a cafe. In this she has had to come out of the war she is currently participating in to have a break. Basically she's had an injury, so she has to break from her job, and she goes to this really small town, and there is a cute quaint bookshop which she goes into, and she meets, I can never remember the name of I can't remember the name, but it's basically like a little mouse. The little mouse runs the bookshop, and Viv keeps going in for recommendations and reading all these books and reading them so quickly, to the point where Viv helps repair and bring the bookshop back to life. And it is such a cute cozy read. There also is a little background information, so if you've read Legends and Lattes you will love this because you get more of Viv's background, and the ending you kind of go like jump in time to kind of present day, I suppose, of when Legends and Lattes was made, and it's so cute. It's so cute, and I'm so excited to see what he brings out next, because the Legends and Lattes and Bookshops and Bone Dust was phenomenal and had to be in my top 10, because I think of the year I read Legends and Lattes, that was probably like 1 or 2 in my top 10 of the year. So this had to be up there. But unfortunately it is 6 because we had a lot of very good books this year. So yeah, this is number 6. Now we're halfway. And I would love to know, if you watch me regularly, what you think my top 5 is, and or even what you think my number 1 and number 2 slot is, because I feel like a lot of you will get it. Kind of looking at Lauren, Lauren Tessa 12, I think you'll get it. I can't remember her name has completely left my head, but Nerdy Book Lady, she will get it. She should know. If she doesn't, I'm disappointed. I'm not disappointed, but I feel like there's a few of you, I think it's Kitty, she should get it. I feel like there's a few of you that regularly comment and watch my content, which I'm really appreciated for. Thanks guys, like I really do appreciate you. But I feel like you guys are gonna guess my top 2, so let me know. But number 5, a lot of you won't be surprised by, but it's Cinnamon Bun Bookstore by Laurie Gilmore. The amount I've spoken about this series is a bit fucking ridiculous. I love it. So the first book being Pumpkin Spice Cafe. This is book 2, which is the Cinnamon Bun Bookstore. We've just had book 3, which is the Christmas Tree Farm. And we got book 4 and 5 coming out this year, and I'm so friggin' excited. So far, this is a 5-star series. And I don't really like fangirl over romances, but this needs it. This deserves it, because holy fucking shit. Talk about cozy, quaint, cute towns and their romance drama. So, obviously, Pumpkin Spice Cafe, we are in a cafe, and this is about Hazel and Noah. So Hazel runs the Cinnamon Bun Bookstore, and it is so cute and cozy, and like if you're a book lover like myself, you'll love it, because she talks about books and you get to see her running the store, and it's amazing. And then Noah is a very outgoing fisherman, and he's not from Dream Harbour, he is from out of town, but oh, Noah, oh my god. So Hazel is like your typical book girly, in the sense that she's quite shy, quite laid back, has like her routine and likes to stick to her routine. And Noah comes in and goes, fuck that girl, you don't need that. You don't need that. And just changes her world for the better, makes her more confident, more outgoing, does things she never would have done before, and I fucking love it. I need someone to come and sweep me off my feet like Noah did to Hazel in this book, because the confidence Hazel had at the end and the growth she went through from the beginning of the book to the end was so lovely. I loved it. I loved it. And I cannot wait for book 4 to come out, just so I can reread the Pumpkin Spice Cafe and this and the Christmas Tree Farm again, because I'm just gonna reread them every time a new book comes out. I love this series so freaking much, and I think for us, however long Laurie Gilmore will keep going with this series, I will read them, I will reread them, I will do vlogs, I will do everything in my power, because I love it. I absolutely love it. And look at the cover. Look at it. It's just the most adorable thing. And like, they're all like this. They're all so cute. Read them. Read them. I'm going on like this. It's just number 5. What am I going to be like for the next 4 books? Oh, I don't know, lads. Okay. Book number 4. Now again, if you know me, you won't be surprised to see this here, but it's Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne. This book has rocked my world. I love John, I do. I love John. And John is one of my favourite authors of all time. I met him this year. Like, he is my guy. I love the Faith in the Fallen series. And I was so worried going into the Bloodsworn saga, worrying that I wasn't going to love it as much as the Faith in the Fallen. Good Christ, was I wrong. This was the easiest 5 stars I've ever given out. John's writing is phenomenal. It is the best writing I have ever read. They have such character-driven stories and amazing world building that every book I think he'll ever write will be a 5-star from me. I love him with every ounce of my being. I met him this year and honestly he is the nicest and kindest man I have ever met. I nearly cried when I met him, and honestly the people in the queue were so lovely as well. It was just an amazing experience. And so without going into drastic details, basically there is a war, a god war, pretty much, but the gods have now like put themselves into extinction. Now like only their bodies kind of remain and they're like scattered over this world. And this is like a Norse inspired world packed with like myth, magic, and this is like the first book in a trilogy. The trilogy is now over, but we basically have this world and we follow 3 characters through this world, different parts of this world, and how they're going with it. And like how do you even explain the plot? Like, Orca, you have my heart and soul. Like, she is the most badass bitch to ever roam the planet and I fucking love her. And you see her have this lovely peaceful life and then everything gets thrown at her and she has the worst shit happen to her and she fucking loses control, and you see her go through every emotion possible, and then still at the end she's one badass motherfucker and you're like, yes Orca, yes. We also follow Varg, who bless him he's one of a kind. He really is. He is such a loving, easy, lovable character, and John's writing, like, he just really brings Varg to life. We also follow Elvar, where we basically find out more of what's going on in the war from her perspective, as she is basically at the war, and it's very interesting seeing her perspective differ from the other 2, and obviously, as they do in John's books, everybody obviously comes together at some point, so I'm very, very excited. Also, I'm just going to point at this. If you know, you know. If you don't, read the goddamn book. Have it. But yeah, I fucking love this. Thanks, John. Love ya. Okay, we're into the top 3. Place your bets. I'm looking at you. Place your bets. Comment down below what you think my top 3 are. I feel like if you're a returning viewer, you'll know. Because especially my number 1 pick, I spoke about it a fucking lot. Like over the past year or like, I don't know, 8 months. Okay, book number 3 is Somewhere Beyond the Sea by TJ Klune. Are we ready to fangirl? Because it's fucking coming for you. This book. So I am a huge fan of House in the Cerulean Sea. I'm also a huge fan of TJ Klune. TJ Klune and House in the Cerulean Sea, madness. freaking loved House of the Cerulean Sea. I reread it this year. It was still a 5-star and it's still a favourite of all time. I didn't want to put it in this video because I have already read it. It was a reread, and so I didn't think it could go into this. So I put this in here instead because this book was phenomenal and an amazing way to end the duology. If you haven't read House of the Cerulean Sea, listen to the audiobook. The narrator is phenomenal. They do voices for each of the children and also each of the characters, and it is so good. It is so makes the enjoyment even better of your reading experience. But so House of the Cerulean Sea, we follow, what's his name? Not Arthur. What's the other guy? Linus Baker. Linus Baker works is in charge of magical youths. He works for like the government, and one of his tasks was to go to a house on an island which is ran by Arthur Parnassus, and to check that these well-being magical children are being looked after properly and to the highest abilities. And Arthur goes to this island and he absolutely falls in love with these children and their amazing personalities, and they're all so different and so amazing, and while doing that he also may fall in love with Arthur, and it's so cute and it's so good. And so this basically follows on from the House in the Cerulean Sea, where we have Arthur and Linus together on the island with all the children, but they have decided to adopt another child who is a Yeti. Yes, so we follow them as they are going through adopting this new child who is a Yeti, so they have to adjust things to suit him, and he is so shy and so timid at the beginning, and he really comes out of his shell towards the end, and it's lovely to see it. And also at the same time we follow Arthur as he is, I don't know if this is in the... Yes, so Arthur is forced to make a public statement about his dark past. He finds himself fighting for those under his care. And it is a very cute, cozy, but also like, it's just amazing. It really is amazing just seeing these characters grow from what they were in House of the Cerulean Sea and then what they grow into in Somewhere Beyond the Sea, and I loved it. I loved it so much, being back with the characters and back in the world, and just, you don't know these people but you're fighting for them, going yes, yes, I want you to be able to do that, and I want you to be able to do this. And the townsfolk have always been really funny about allowing these children to just be normal kids, and in this they really are allowed to be normal kids, and I love it. I love it so much, and I think it had to be in my number 3 spot. It had to be, because this book was phenomenal and I loved it so much. I'm pretty sure I cried at the end. I've done a lot of crying this year, to be honest. Oh, what is this? I do apologise. Number 2. Number 2. This was easy to put here because it unfortunately doesn't beat number 1, but it was amazing, and it's the 4th book in a series. I have loved every book in this series, and I will continue to love every book that comes after. I will forever and always recommend this series to anyone and everyone that will listen to me. So place your bets, kids, place your bets. 2 spot is going to The Last Devil to Die by Richard Osman. You knew, didn't you? You knew. It had to, okay? I'm not going into details. I lost my nan this year. Last year. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to go into details because I get upset. And in this book, in the series, we follow a bunch of old people, classic British old people in a British retirement home. They have a lot of British references throughout, but these are your classic British old people. Biscuits, cups of tea, watching TV shows like Tipping Point and so on and so forth. And on a Thursday they meet together and they try and solve unsolved crime cases, hence why it's called the Thursday Murder Club. And this is book 4. By this point I have made such a relationship and understood these characters so much and so well, and I love them with every ounce of my being. And something happens in this book which shattered my heart into a million pieces. Take it as you will. And it broke my heart and I cried my eyes out. But it also healed me in a way, and because of that it had to get the second spot. We still have a murder that's being solved in this book. I'm pretty sure it's to do with, yeah, an old friend in an antique business is being killed and a dangerous package he was protecting has gone missing. And that's basically what the murder plot is around this. But there is an even bigger plot point in this one, which I'm not going to say because it is a massive spoiler for pretty much all the books, as it is mentioned in book 1. And then it kind of ends in this one. But this book broke me into a million pieces. It really broke me. But like I said, it did heal me at the same time. I also really recommend the audiobooks for this series. This series is phenomenal. I love it and I will continue to read anything this man brings out. The first book I read in for 2025 is We Solve Murders and I'm loving it so far. I'm just kind of slowly taking my time with it, but I'm having a great time back in Richard Osman's mind and his worlds, and yeah, freaking loved this series. And honestly, if you've never tried a murder mystery before, read it. Try it, read it, because you'll be so surprised if you enjoy it or not, especially if you're British. If you're British, you'll love it. Trust me. But it had to get number 2 spot. It had to. My world would come to an end if it didn't. Okay, the final book. Guesses? You should know. I did a whole vlog just on this book. Is that giving it away? You should have. And this is my favourite author of all time. She has never let me down. Every book she has ever written, I have given 5 stars. Easily. And as soon as I'd finished this book, I knew it was my number 1 book of 2024. And I read this back in March, I think, or April, and that hasn't changed. Since March and April, this has been my number 1 book. If you read my mid-year best books of the year, it's the same. It's the same. And that is The Reappearance of Rachel Price by Holly Jackson. I loved the twists, the turns in this book. So Holly Jackson obviously wrote the Good Girls Guide to Murder series, which is my favourite series of all time, and I'm currently rereading, and it is a great time. She also has written 5 Survive, which was another 5-star read for me, and this is her new book, which is a standalone. In this, we follow Belle. Belle, when she was very young, unfortunately, her mother disappeared, and she is now a lot older and still has no idea what happened to her mum. But her dad has decided that he is allowing TV crews to come into his house and interview them for a documentary called The Disappearance of Rachel Price. Not reappearance, not yet. And while they are filming this documentary, Rachel reappears, and we are then on the hunt and trying to figure out what happened to Rachel, because she doesn't remember. And it's heartwarming and terrifying, and the twists, the turns, I didn't see any of it coming. I finished at like 2 a.m. I could not put this book down. I flipping loved it so much. And the ending, good Christ, Holly, Jesus Christ, I have never read an ending like it. Holy fucking shit, like it was something else. And you literally just get to a point in the book and then it's like tumbleweed and it's just one thing after another and I'm like, holy fucking shit, to the point I stayed awake till 2 a.m. and I loved it. I loved it so much. I really want to reread it just to see if I can notice any things that I'm like, oh, I should have seen that, and yeah, that makes sense. Like now I know how it ends. But I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And also seeing Belle really come out of her shell was lovely, but she was such a timid little girl at the beginning of the book, and by the end she was a badass bitch, and I was like, yes, Belle, yes. I loved that for her, because she was so timid and so scared of everything and never wanted to do things on her own, and at the end she was a completely different girl, and it was lovely. It was so nice to see that. And I feel like Holly has a way with her main characters that just makes you want to root for them every damn time. And I did it with Pip in Good Girl's Guide to Murder. You literally root for her from page 1, and the same for Belle. You just literally root for her the whole way through, and you're going, come on Belle, you've got this, figure it out, come on. And she does, and I absolutely love this book so much, and I'm very excited to see what Holly is going to come out with in 2025. She has got a book coming out I think later in the year, so I'm very excited to read that and to add to my Holly Jackson shelf. Because yes, I have a shelf, don't judge me. But yes, that is my top 10 best books of 2024. Yay! I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. I would love to know what your top 10 or even top 3, top 2, top 1, whatever, tell me what you want. I'd love to know what your top books are for 2024. I'd also just love to know if you've read any of these, what your thoughts were on them. I love reading the comments, so please leave me comments. I love reading them. I love replying to you guys and talking in the comments. Yeah, I had a good reading year. It was great. Not great in other sense, but it was a great reading year, and I'm very excited to hopefully see what 2025 brings. Maybe it'll be the year we reach 100 books. Funny. Yeah, funny joke. I don't believe that either, but you know, the thoughts there. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Like, subscribe if you are new, and I'll see you all very soon for another video.